and welcome back to Therapist Plays Disco Elysium. We have a very specific mission this episode, which is to scrounge around for any crumbs of experience that we can find lying skittered about Martinez. We're desperate at this point to get enough perception to pass this check so that we can conclude the storyline with the church and move on with the end of the game. And this time I promise we're actually getting close. And I do believe that by the next episode, we will pass that check. And in the meantime, we're going to wrap this little adventure to gather experience in the envelope of understanding how compulsive addictive behaviors work. And quite surprisingly, meeting maybe one of my favorite characters in all of Disco Elysium this late into the game. We're getting close, much closer than we ever have before. So without further ado, let's jump in, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, and welcome back. All right, we've taken a little detour into a parallel universe of birds and princesses and pristine blades. And now I'm back with the calm safety comfort of the Cavalsund in my hand. It's time to continue our adventure in Elysium. But yeah, it was great to take a little break. Okay, so where are we here? Well, I did a little bit of review of where we were, so that I'm not just bumbling around too much as we get back into this. Hey, let me blast myself with a bit of mag first to get to really get prepared. And what we need to do is we need to fucking finish this side quest with the church so that we can go look for Ruby. And I've been doing this for like 1,000 years by now. I'm so damn close to a skill point. And I'm just gonna be straight up with you now. Now that I've broken the save scum barrier, I feel pretty comfortable using that feature again to pass this perception check, because we're running out of opportunities to get skill points as we near the end of the game, and we've been quite exhaustive with side quests we've had so far. So I'm not gonna blast a point into perception. I'm actually gonna go with I believe it was the Col de Mama d'Aqua thought cabinet thing, which many of you recommended to get some perception points, some natural perception. Let me just make sure first that the skill itself is unlocked, because I would hate to need 2 points, one to unlock the thought and then another to unlock the skill, or the skill check. Let's check on that first. And then I'm gonna be looking for basically anything to raise my experience, which I have some commentary on. Let's see.
Yes, what is it?
Okay. This is the mountain we have to climb. 28%er. Let's see if we can raise that up. Okay. And now here's what I'm gonna do. Here's my plan. Okay. And I'm gonna make this thematic. I'm gonna make this psychologically thematic. Harry is a recovering addict. And now we've not fully developed our methodology at remaining sober for our entire rest of our lives. In fact, we've not even succeeded at that. We've succumbed to the psychometric benefits of smoking cigarettes, which made us very wealthy at the end of the day. Wealthy both in income and in political perspective, I should say. Now we're well endowed. Rich, you might even say. So we've not fully recovered yet. And something that does happen when you are in the process of recovery, which I work with many people on this, is substitution behaviors. Okay, it's very common for people to quit one drug and find themselves gravitating towards another one. Sometimes it's not another drug, but sometimes it's just a different behavior where we've not necessarily worked totally on the category of behaviors that fall under impulsiveness, right? Short-sighted thinking, like short temper, instant gratification, like all that stuff we can summarize as like impulsive behaviors, right? And that's like a whole category of behavior. Just because you stop drinking or whatever, like using stimulants, doesn't mean we've just like cured ourselves of impulsiveness. Which we could go back to like the cognitive behavioral therapy model to look at like how that is not just a behavior, but it's driven from emotions and driven by thoughts, right? So Harry still has a lot of work to do on his impulsiveness. This has actually been quite relevant because every time I get a skill point, I just blast it into whatever I need right now. So it's been fitting to the roleplay that while we've managed to keep ourselves sober, relatively sober, at least from like the hardcore stuff, that is built on a foundation of very shaky behavioral change that's not fully developed yet. It's just it's weak scaffolding right now. We're super impulsive. And then the closer I get to my goal, the more my impulsive behavior drives up. Okay. I sense myself imminently close to the Cul de Mamadakwa revelation. Whatever I can do to get it, I'll do it, basically, right now. I'm fiending for experience points. Not drugs, but experience points. And I will basically do anything at this point to get a sliver or a crumb of something that'll give me some XP. So I'll scrounge the ground for cigarette butts of conversation. I'll dig out my piggy bank of old people that we've talked to, and I'll just look for any sort of crumbs of experience points I can get to push myself over the line. Because the closer I am to gratification, I can almost taste it, the more desperate things I'll do to get it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll fucking scrounge for anything. Someone told me I could climb some fucking statue in the middle of the street. I don't remember what we could do it for or why, or if it has any relevance to anything, but if I have a lead on it, I'll do it. I'll climb anything. Anything for experience. I'll betray anyone. I'll betray Tommy twice over for it. I do it for a ciggy. Okay, let's see if there's anything. I'll click on anything.
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods.
It's kind of like us. Like if this statue is the representation of Harry's, the sober, competent, morally realigned Harry that we've been developing ourselves into, this is the foundation of actual behaviors that we are working with. Like basically just a fucking combination of sticks and wires and broken concrete. This is what I'm working with. Who is this?
A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane." Not a good track record of mental health in that family.
I was just thinking that, actually. What do you have to do to be known as a squanderer? Ah, shit. Encyclopedia. Do we have anything that can raise encyclopedia before I try to do that? Let's see. Any encyclopedia stuff? Isn't there some spectacles? Don't I have some encyclopediatic spectacles? I do. What about like I don't know, some pants with a particular little bit of lore bite to them? No. Okay.
An old monument.
Oh yeah, 72%er.
Even by the standards
Easy.
of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy.
I know this. I know this stuff. I've got the spectacles.
Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol.
Sounds like the squanderer here had his own struggles with impulsive behavior, especially impulsive spending.
His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola.
How did he manage to blow through the entire national treasury? Actually, I'm going to take a guess that I know why. So this is called a compulsion loop. And actually, the Wikipedia page on compulsive loop behavior references video games, specifically Monster Hunter, to talk about this. But this is really how it works behaviorally, which is kind of fascinating. And I teach on this. I legitimately use this in my classes to teach on how this applies to addiction. Basically, the idea is that like dopamine is your reward center chemical, right? It's what we get when something nice happens. But it's actually not like as simple as like you do something nice, you get a reward or whatever, you get dopamine. It actually works in a cycle like this. So dopamine is created in the dopamine receptors when you're anticipating the reward before anything has happened. And in fact, this could be super powerful. The anticipation effects of this, like I've heard people telling me times where, let's say that they have an opioid addiction and their opioid receptors will start responding differently when they know that they are on their way to go and get their drug of choice, right? Before they've put anything into their body, like they can feel the withdrawals, like, and they can feel the urgency of that and the desire to go and do it, because like the shit starts getting produced, the dopamine, just when you're anticipating the reward, right? So it starts here. Your dopamine receptors, they create dopamine at anticipation. In the Monster Hunter model, this is while you're planning your hunt, basically. And in Disco Elysium, it's like we're planning, what we're gonna do for the case. But it's not released at all when you're just anticipating it. It's just held there, right? Then you have to go and do something. Dopamine is not actually a reward chemical, it's a motivation chemical that produces reward feelings. And this is what motivates you to go and do something, to like release it, right? So the dopamine is created in anticipation. You go out and do something. You challenge the monsters. We go, we're looking for our skill points. We'll do anything to get it, basically. I'll go and get the drug. And then when you accomplish that thing, you get a reward, right? Gold, loot, monster hides, drugs, or an experience point in our case, right? And this is where the dopamine that was created in anticipation is released. So it feels really good, right? And it motivates you to do it again, right? Like, oh, I got exactly what I wanted. Let's go around again. However, the problem with this is if you don't get the reward you want, all that dopamine that was created in anticipation is not all released, and you feel disappointed. You have dopamine blue balls, basically. And this also motivates you to go back around, right? This also motivates you like, oh, I either got the reward I wanted, this feels so good, let me do it again, or I didn't get the reward I wanted, fuck, I have to try again, and I'll do anything to get it. So this is pretty sinister. Once humans have figured out that this works, how this works, and now games are designed like this, and not all of them are predatory, but what we have discovered is that when the rewards are randomized, for example, in a Gacha system, this creates even more of this anticipation and payoff sort of thing, right? Like you're thinking about the character that you want, the hot anime waifu. You go and do a bunch of meaningless stuff to get it, and then you roll the dice, and you either get it or you don't. And if you get it, you feel great and you want to do it more. And if you don't, you may not want to go through that challenge again, so you'll spend money on it, right? And this is actually designed purposefully like that, because part of the reason we never, well, not never, but let's say part of the reason that we didn't lose our fucking minds so badly before this was like used to create monetization systems is because like the level of challenge that you go through kind of changes your relationship with the task. Like if you go and kill a monster and it feels really, sometimes the reward is, it felt rewarding to do it, even if I didn't get the result that I wanted in terms of gear or whatever. It's just nice. We just feel good about the accomplishment, right? Sort of intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic. And so like the level of challenge can be its own reward. If you don't really give a fuck about the challenge, like if the challenge is designed to be tedious, like just go do a bunch of fest quests or a daily login cycle, as in gacha games, then you have no relationship with like the thing you're doing being intrinsically rewarding. So this part is eliminated from this, right? The challenge just becomes about time and attention on it. And so we just want to cut the middleman out. Like, well, if there's no real challenge, if that's not intrinsically rewarding, why don't I just make the challenge paying money for it? Let me just skip this part, please. I just want to anticipate and get the reward, and anticipate and get the reward. Like that, right? This is pretty bad because like the difficulty of doing things that are really good for you, we've designed them to be less and less and less. It's not like hard to do the drug. It's designed to be easy, like just literally inject it into your body, swallow it, snort it, whatever, like whatever's the fastest way. It's designed not to be hard so that you don't think about this. Spending money as well. Like it's easy to swipe a credit card, you know, for people who have compulsive behavior with shopping because like it's not difficult. Nothing even happens. There's no physical transformation that you see that even puts into perspective this. So like we know that this works on people, and if we can design systems that take out this challenge component or make it annoying to do and give you an easier way to do it, that's what gets us, right? This is what creates compulsive behavior, and like gacha systems are designed to take advantage of that. So obviously a ton of games use this whole system maliciously. And then there's some who like know it's good for playing, like keeping people playing the game. Like let's say Monster Hunter, but it's not like you can buy, you know, a monster tail that you couldn't acquire by doing the thing, right? By actually playing the game. So it's not a sinister system in and of itself. It just is how we work. And since we know how we work, we exploit that for our own personal gain. Which I'm sure there's some sort of political message in everything that I just said as well, which someone more politically literate can provide context to in the comments. But I'm most interested to see if Felipe the Squanderer had his own struggles with exactly what I have been talking about. Let's see. How did he manage to blow through the entire national treasury?
Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices.
See, that's the thing. We are not super persuaded by having so much stuff. As long as we have a couple high quality things, like we have our Kvalsund, okay? We have our own little pocketable wardrobe of conspicuously perception and strength increasing clothing. And that's all we really need, you know? We may be more intrinsically motivated. We have not turned quite into the stuff goblin that this gentleman seems to have become during his reign.
He called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person.
That's the thing. When you really like get lost in the compulsion loop, and some people have a higher propensity for this than others. Obviously, that's what makes, you know, addiction have a genetic component, right? Or it can. Some people are more susceptible. Now, in the modern day, our current understanding and practice of psychology uses what we call the biopsychosocial model. So it's kind of three components. It's biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors, right? And we look at all of them. We say, oh, this person might have a biological trait that makes them have a more likelihood to develop an addiction, let's say, or cancer, or all kinds of stuff. But it's not everything. Just having a higher likelihood doesn't guarantee. There are psychological factors. Some psychological conditions can have a biological factor as well, like certain kinds of schizophrenia and other diagnoses, right? But psychological factors can lead to increased likelihood of developing addiction or having addictive behaviors or tendencies. And social factors. Growing up around people who have addictions, maybe due to one or both of the other things, also increases your likelihood. And so that's why it's like such a bad cycle. It becomes generational. Again, none of these are guarantees. There's people who grow up in addict families and homes and don't develop an addiction themselves, and that's wonderful. But most of the time, like when I'm working with someone and we're talking about like, what they're doing in front of me, basically, what brought them to this position of needing to get help, I'm kind of listening for those things. I'm like, okay, well, what did your home life look like? Did anyone in your family struggle with addiction? Do you suffer from any depression or anxiety? Like, it's all biopsychosocial. That's all like what we're considering. Now, this is not always the case. Prior models of psychology and pre-psychology, obviously there was no psychological component. We thought people's bile determined whether they were like mentally ill or not. We didn't fucking know. But now we know super, super good. And so we make monetization models that allow us to make even people who don't have addictive tendencies, but especially people who have addictive tendencies, spend all of their hard-earned money on anime girls. That's what the founders of psychology were. They didn't know it at first, but that's what they were really building towards. And I'm sure they would actually be quite proud of their work if they could see what it's turned into today.
The man certainly knew how to live.
Actually, I have not been a big fan of Horrific Necktie, but maybe that's kind of his role in our life. Like I know he represents kind of like old Harry, but he's like the voice of the compulsive thinker. He's the one who's just like, well, fuck it. Everything is about like doing anything you can to release that dopamine. I would like to sleep on gold, hustler style. The king is the king. He can do anything. Wait, really? There's no way that's true. A deplorable farce. No wonder everything went to shit. Okay. What does current Harry think? Now that we've been on our communism thing, although we're kind of a pseudo-communist, like, mostly it's just been fun to say to people and get their reaction. I don't think this Harry is... I don't think he knows enough about what it is to really be one, and I certainly don't. So I still get comments on an old video of this series where I went up to the scab leader and was like, this guy's a communist, right? Look, I didn't know anything. I still don't know anything about this stuff, really. I'm learning, though. I'm more willing to learn than I was 8 months ago, whenever that video took place. But I still get comments just thinking, like, how fucking wrong and stupid can you be? That's kind of how I feel like Harry is. He doesn't fucking know. Like, just like me. I don't think he'd be able to separate necessarily that what we're hearing depicted here. Like, I don't know if he would factor this in the political sense. I think he would engage more on the, like, I think it'd be fucking cool to sleep on a mountain of gold. Or the king is the king and he can do anything. Or just be kind of incredulous. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe the interaction with the ultra wealthy light bending guy kind of changed us at our core, and now we're sort of disgusted by the idea of being so insanely wealthy. Let's just go with no way that's true.
But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction.
I haven't yet, but I could have seen that one coming. The what now?
You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy.
It's relatable to our Harry.
Not just any nose candy, though. We're talking Royal Philippian Blow, allegedly twice as potent as the stuff you find nowadays, and purple. Philippian cocaine was purple.
Okay, what is this nose candy? I'm curious if we get electrochemistry to clarify what that is for us.
Cocaine.
Oh. I was hoping to get an eloquent electrochemical explanation. But now I feel incredibly stupid. This is a lot to process.
His Majesty's courtiers said it helped him connect with the higher realms.
So he was addicted to nose candy, a bloated druggie.
That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Elysium Bay.
Yeah, so I'm going to guess that Mr. Felipe, the Squanderer, would have had the most amazing profile of anime gacha girls ever. The biggest whale, you could say, if he were alive to see the way our systems run today. But at the same time, he would probably never be satiated by collecting all of the waifus of his deep cocaine-filled dreams. Okay, where's he buried now?
Beneath the cold waters of the Elysium Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that the people on the outside looking in weren't particularly happy that he was squandering all of their money on his nose candy.
A group of marble pleurons still surround the king's vandalized tomb. A deathly cold wind sweeps up candy wrappers and old newspapers.
Okay, so what happened to the statue?
The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled.
So the communists naturally don't like this guy very much. As a newly solidified communard myself, we're not big fans of squanderers.
Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city.
Irony is a very effective expression of art.
The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit.
That's brilliant. So funny and nihilistic. That's actually I actually do think that's brilliant. I actually just thought it was actually blown out. That's brilliant.
People in Martinez tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck about the art critics.
Philip III, the Squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't care about any of this. This was all for that little 5%er. The little 5%er that brought us closer to our goal. All of this is fucking secondary.
Not that he ever did in life either.
I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'll do anything for experience. Okay, well, that was an interesting little glimpse into the lore here. Look at this. Click on this before? I'll click on anything. Guess it's just some speed lying around. Okay. Take that.
Okay, first I was having issues with my game crashing, and now it's my headphones.
All kinds of problems happening in this episode. Okay, let's see if I can scrounge together some more experience points. Maybe I could talk to the Pale Driver.
The woman looks at nothing.
No, I guess not. She's still in an infinite daze. Okay. Well, we are very slightly closer.
Let's see what else we can do. Click. I'll click on stuff. I'll click on anything. Even if it just gives me a 1%er. Someone mentioned that I might be able to collect my last piece of found gear from this gentleman.
Everything's still cool here.
Maybe, that'll get me some
Keep coming
experience.
back. That's
You find your hands deep in tattered.
economical, but also
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra serious.
That's what I really need. I need the
I
sneakers.
can see you with taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
Let's see. You got me, friend. I'm an easy mark for the found gear. Let's inspect those sneakers and those speakers. But first, the sneakers.
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway, a jet black upper, and a silver-lined midsole.
Anything that looks sleek, I'm into.
Dedicated, victorious, sporty. These found sneakers are a must-have for a track and field legend.
After the impressive showing of our ability to lift the heavy weight bar, we're an athletic beast.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool.
They're
Only
super
50 real.
super fine and super mine.
Only? That's madness.
I need those found sneakers. It's actually so thematic with what I was talking about. Look, compulsion is a dangerous thing. Compulsive spending, right? And this is, I teach a class on budgeting, general budgeting, from a psychological angle, right? Like, and I bring up the compulsion loop when I do that because you want to change your relationship with spending money, because like the act of anticipating something and having it has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter with online shopping and instant deliveries and all these sorts of things. Like the gratification window is tighter and tighter, structurally built into society. And if you can convince your mind to appreciate delayed gratification more, you don't have impulsive spending habits as much. The problem is that part of the compulsion loop, the challenging part, it's not challenging. I look at my bank, I see I have enough. I see how much they are. My rhetoric tells me that's nothing, and we just blast away.
Super cool. Now the premium lifestyle is yours, officer.
That's right. That's right. Premium.
The sneakers seem to vibrate in your hands with an almost mystical energy.
No, I'm all found up. While we're here, let's check out those speakers.
These once mighty speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found ultras that used to crown them.
Conquered by the found sneakers.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here.
But I already bought the sneakers.
So you did. Now put them on and look at them, officer. Make the people jealous of your premium lifestyle.
I will. I'll get to that. Okay, I'll get to that, Siling. But can I just buy the sad conquered Sumerian speakers?
No way, officer. These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Lo-fi socialist junk.
That's why I want them. I think I might be lo-fi socialist junk myself.
No, officer. You're a high-class policeman who accepts nothing less than the best. Lucky for you, I've got the best on sale.
I feel I've been I've been swindled here. You don't know. I feel like if I took the speakers, he'd be telling me that they were the premium article. You don't know what I am. I don't even know it myself. I want the speakers. I see them. I have the money for them. I want them. You cannot interrupt my compulsion.
Well, if you want them.
And now this has become a challenge for me, and now I don't even give a fuck about the speakers. It's the intrinsic reward of getting them away from your clutches that is driving me.
On the one hand, these speakers are socialist garbage. On the other hand, you did buy the sneakers.
That's right.
I don't really need them anymore.
That's right.
Okay, officer, they're yours. For 50 cents.
50 cents? That's a bargain. I'll take them.
Junk is yours, officer. Happy listening. Try not to hurt your ears with that Samaran garbage.
Let's inspect that garbage. I'll decide. I'll decide if they're garbage. 30 real. That's a fucking steal. Why did you even buy those? These are no magic speakers. These are lame speakers. All they will ever produce is a faint memory of the song you're trying to listen to. Sell them for cash. I mean, that's a fucking huge upsell. I've become so economically savvy in this playthrough. It's not very communist-like of me, I'm sure. Limitless grip. Steady ground. Too fast for facts. Fucking put them on and never take them off. This is a fucking... I'm unstoppable now. The only thing I don't have is a found shirt. Maybe such a thing doesn't even exist. But I'm cool with it. I'm buffed out in my white tee. My white tank. I'm all found up. I'm too fast for facts, but my spectacles disagree. They balance out my encyclopedia. They're not very good for actually looking at things. And I've got the Cavalsund. I mean, Harry has never looked more dope in his life. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go sell the speakers as well. I think we made out pretty damn well there.
Officer, the flash.
Sorry. I forgot.
Hello. Sure. Let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Speakers. This rifle I probably don't need. I'm just cashed up. I'm cashed up. Not ready to cash out.
Another time, back.
I am an economic mastermind in this world now. I've come a long way from not being able to pay my rent. And I'm too fast for facts now. But you know what? I'm no closer. Oh, fuck. I'm so close. I'm so goddamn close. I'll do fucking anything. Kim, do you have any fucking new dialogue for me?
Yes? What about me?
Do you ever talk with yourself
What do you mean?
when you're thinking?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
How do you know?
What? Think? I do most of my work inside my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. That's where his conversations with himself take place.
I respect it. I respect a journaler.
You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special.
Okay. I don't think we have any new dialogue with it.
Let's change the subject. What do you want to know?
Would you say this is a mysterious case?
No, it's not a particularly mysterious case.
Why not?
The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that.
I was thinking something otherworldly might be involved. You know, something supernatural.
I can assure nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not?
Why not?
Because it's not part of reality.
The gesture resembles an orchestra conductor bringing the choir to a full stop. There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him.
Yes, that's right, Kim. You should take one step out of reality with me. We can subsist on the blurry line between the real and the unreal. That's where the fucking police work gets done, I'll tell you that. Can we go over the preliminary info?
You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again?
No, I'll wing it.
There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. I did. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate.
This actually is really helpful because the last time I really checked in on any of this shit was almost a year ago.
During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute.
Make it cool. I've heard enough.
Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know?
There's gonna be...
No.
The lieutenant.
Good.
Oh. Oh, there's a new check. An Inland Empire. Convince Kim there's a sexy, dark mystery twist in the case. Oh, yes, let's do it. What do I have? What can I do? What can I blast to get more of that? Inland Empire. Do I have anything that can boost that? My necktie does. Nothing to Inland Empire, huh? We could do some speed, but Harry doesn't want to do any drugs. I'm over drugs, okay? My new substitution addiction is gaining experience. I am literally 2 points away. I mean, all I have to do is click on like 2 orbs. Are there any orbs? There's got to be a fucking orb to click somewhere in this city. Just one. Just 2. There's 2 orbs. I'll click them. I'll click them. I'll click anything. And now as I anticipate the reward of this level, the tasty hit of dopamine has already been prepared in my little brain receptor pockets. I'm ready to unleash it. My visual perceptive field has narrowed down to I don't see people, I don't see a world, I don't see the case, I don't see Kim, I don't see anything but opportunities for experience points. You're all nothing to me. You're just an avenue to my brain's development. Click, 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 click. What can I click? There's gotta be something. I'll just splash around in the mud. Just observe something, Harry. Anything. It's gotta be something. It's gotta be something. I'm really in character now. Come on. When you're really desperate, like, you see people check things they know are empty. I'll go back and check my empty cigarette box 6 times. I know there's nothing in there, but what if there is this time?
Dead and dying.
Shit. No, I'll check anything. What if I missed something? What if there was something to click I overlooked? Kim is just following me around while I desperately cling to my Klauson for anything to make a simple observation about. What is this? What is this? You're a clickable object that I have not seen before. What is this?
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D.
Whatever. Just like the statue. Is there something I can gain in terms of experience from this?
Above the mural, a collapsed roof, broken windows set in walls that are cracking and will soon also fall, and the coastal breeze rustling and sighing in the remains of the edifice.
Wait, is this actually related to our to our main quest?
There's something in the wind. Sometimes the only way to go forward is to fail first.
Why do I feel like I know this place?
Indeed, somehow you knew it was here. An urban ruin gutted by looters that once used to consume money and dispense warmth and light.
Ah, we've gotten it. That sweet dopamine just hit.
You felt it before.
I felt it.
When it rained in Martinez. and you felt the cold of the rain. The feeling persists. It has been in you ever since.
But it seems I've actually stumbled into the next link in the actual main quest by accident while I was fiending for a bit of any sort of experience point crumbs. Okay, I'll bite. What is this building?
In there?
Oh, I accidentally...
Good. Or she could be in the identical room over there, or in that boat shack, in that church tower, maybe.
You being sly, Kim?
Why single out this one building?
What is this building?
Maybe we could, you know, ask the man who's pointing at the building.
We could do that.
Great idea.
Okay, we'll come back to this because this seems like it's like how to progress the case, maybe. But first, I just want to internalize that thought so that we can get our perception up. So I need to unlock. Okay, let me make sure I don't fuck this up. I've been known to do that. So I unlock this. You'd think I'd know how to do this right now. And I internalize this. Calma de Mama Dakwa. Okay. Now we just wait. We have research time. Okay. Well, let's pass the time by talking to this gentleman. And now that I've gotten my sweet dopamine release and the anticipation towards the next skill point and the anticipation of this are slowly building up, we start edging basically on this playthrough has just gotten so deranged. We're edging on intellectual development. What has this become? Then we're not so distracted by the imminent payoff of our next goal, so we can take some time to calmly engage with this gentleman. I have post experience point clarity. I'm gonna take this off because I somehow feel like it's irresponsible to blast the young child with the flashlight. I'm gonna pop this bad boy on because I think he'd think it's pretty cool.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blond man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Tran? Well, he said Tran. This guy is definitely like Dutch. He's very Dutch-like. He sounds Dutch. Interesting.
Nice to meet you.
Hold on. What is hypertext?
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
Okay.
He's just making up fancy words. This doesn't mean anything.
That's Harry's defensive mechanism to be like, there's no way I wouldn't know this and feel stupid and inferior. He must be making it up. What was that about the window before?
Oh, yes. So, Mikhail, they had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
Okay. So he's out here. He's just a regular dude, just giving an education to his son. I think I love this man. You know, this whole game I have been complaining, not complaining, but part of what's been depressing about it is just seeing like Kuno hanging out in the backyard. He had a shit family life and absent, addicted parents, abusive parents. And like, you can kind of see how that bears out in his own mental health. And Fritta Girl, like, I keep talking about Fritta Girl every episode. Like, what are her parents? What do they talk to her about? To me, it doesn't seem like they fucking talk to her about anything because she seems very bored with life. And they have not clearly stimulated what is a very promising intellectual mind. Kuno S obviously doesn't have parents because maybe she did something to them. We don't know. Annette has her mom, but just her mom from what we can tell, or no, I forget if she has a husband or not, but he's not around. We've not seen him, and she seems kind of busy, focused on work and putting her daughter to work. Like all the kids in this environment, the 2 teenagers that we saw, I've been like, where are their parents at? Like, where's the prior generation who's looking out for these kids and helping them out? All the kids on the ice, you know, I've been like revolving a lot of my commentary around like the world building, and this is, you can clearly see that, you know, the trends in society, they're evidential based on like the kids that you're seeing. The only present parent that we've really engaged with has been Lillian, and she's wonderful. And now you just have this guy, Hans. He's just here educating his son on the history of this technological building, feeding a curious mind. And I love this. But also, how the fuck do you know Kim?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
Have you heard of me? You heard of Kim, you've heard of me. He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his Verm-themed coloring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately.
Worms.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in 08.
I could be in for a verb.
Standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Okay.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
It's good. It's a good question. What's so fascinating about the empty building? And I'm actually curious.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
He raises his hand to his eyes to shield himself from the pattering rain. All 4 of you turn to admire the mural before you.
What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
And not just that he's out here educating his son, like the way he's doing it, he's making what is, you know, a story of something decaying seem exciting. And like he's speaking positively about it. Like he's using a lot of like, aha, isn't that interesting? Like he's doing that thing I've been talking about, like how to engage someone with knowledge that's just outside their scope of understanding or interest. I love this man. Where the fuck did he come from, and why can't he be everyone's dad?
Hold on. What's R&D?
See, like it's stimulating our own, like, I don't know this. Like, I want this guy to like me and continue talking to me, so I should ask him. Also, we're just dumb. We're just dumb, so we failed at it. What's an R&D department?
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore.
That's like a classic. That feels like a Dutch thing too. Apologizing to me for my own thinking error or my own lack of knowledge. Like, just so polite. Dutch people are quite polite. The ones I've interacted with anyways. He smiles brightly, laugh lines around his eyes. You can just tell this guy is a fucking smiley gentleman.
You're probably more familiar with RTD. Technological development.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was thinking RTD before you said R&D. So thanks for, picking me up to speed here.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man
Shut
is
up.
a bookhead.
Shut up, encyclopedia. We want him to think we're cool. And we want him to think we're smart. We want him to continue educating us and reparenting us. Let's look at the building.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
I don't think I've heard of this Feld Electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
He adjusts his suit jacket.
They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here.
You're so funny, Trant. I could listen to this guy all day. What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
A tape computer?
Mm-hmm. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN, and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced. I admire it too.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
This guy's just way too cool. What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Mikhail! Even Mikhail is excited. This is the best thing ever.
Unfortunately,
Revachol is healing.
Project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses, pointing to the other building, then continues.
All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
Man, just the way he's telling the story, like... He's driving us towards the part of our mind that is curious about these things and nurturing that curiosity. Rather than injecting, like, and it's my opinion that this was bad for the economy or my political ideology. Like, he's presenting it very neutrally and excitedly from this is a thing that happened that is interesting. Form your own thoughts about it sort of way. Great teacher, great parent. Leaving plenty of room open for us to ask questions. And I actually want to know the answer, right? That's like what makes me want to ask is the way he presented it. You're saying that Feld Electrical built this boardwalk?
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
A pleasure wheel?
It's happening again. The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon, as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky.
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer they were a big wheel, lighting up the coast.
Now, Kim enjoys a good pleasure wheel.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
And he knows when not to go too far. Like, knowing your audience, you know, meeting them where they're at, not going over their head, not trying to impress us with his knowledge, but it didn't end well for the boys. Like, just sounds like a runt of old lads. The things just didn't pan out for, even though he's talking about like crippling economic strife, probably. He smiles again as if he's somehow personally responsible for this bleak turn of events. I love this guy.
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Oh, that's even worse than I thought. Turn to Mikhail. He means they all got shot in the head because they were bourgeois. Now, do you know what the bourgeoisie is? No, Harry, we're not doing that. Come on, that would be... What would Kim say? Tape computers, right.
Tape computers.
He nods, wind tussling his suit jacket. Can I trade places with Mikhail and go home with Trance? This guy is wonderful. What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Decret de Mars.
What was that?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
I also don't get the impression that he really wants anything from us. He's just telling us this because he's interested in it.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans le Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree.
Where the fuck did this guy come from in this world? He's just so unique. He's popped out of fucking nowhere, and like everything he's saying is so esoteric, but even like his inner contextual referencing is like he's talking about this transmission and he's comparing it to a love poem that he's read. Like it's so esoteric and personal to him, but really demonstrates how broad his knowledge space is in so many subjects, from music to writing to poetry to history. Where the fuck did this guy come from? Why can't he be everyone's dad?
I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it.
Good.
Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
And instead of forcing him to memorize it, what does he do? He plays with the fucking worms with his son instead. He allows the platform and the space for his child to be curious about something important, but also tries to work from where his son is currently curious about worms to get that same intellectual stimulation, right? He doesn't like say, no, you should be interested in this high concept thing. Please learn about it. He comes down to where his son is interested and says, oh, let me stimulate this from here. And like, maybe we work up to these bigger ideas. This guy's a fucking A+ person. How did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers? I'm actually genuinely curious now.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like.
That's amazing.
Word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
He raises his finger, remembering something.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Juice joined the team, trying to...
Wait.
Wait, did he just say Humpty Dumpty Dum Center?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
He did it. He said Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world.
Why did he say that?
What the hell is a Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juice?
Yeah, well, hold on, friend. I'm loving your personality and your whole good dad vibe, but you're going to have to slow down and explain this to me.
This is all ninsy-pinsy garbage for sissy people.
Okay, the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, Paul Ockerman, Keith and Guy Just. What are you talking about?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
Okay, I have two thoughts. One, I am feeling similar now to when I talked to Egghead, which means I'm feeling extremely intellectually inferior because I can't understand what he's saying. The second thought I'm having is, buddy, you are assuming way more held knowledge on my behalf than I have. I don't know fucking any of this stuff. You're making this up. Kim, Hey, let's get Kim involved. Kim, is he making this up?
In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center.
Also, I knew it. That's such a Dutch-sounding thing, Vredefort.
But perhaps I should return to the tape computers.
Yeah, perhaps.
As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
The RCM should get some of those.
Even one would be very useful. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to the precious device. But so they did. The Feld playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07.
Wait, the Feld playback experiment?
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Feld playback experience. But those are incorrect.
he's getting really specific now. Why did the revolutionaries destroy it?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
He takes a step back. The boardwalk creaks mournfully in the wind. I want to ask something else.
But of course. What else?
Let's ask him about anyone suspicious.
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
So it's your day off.
So you haven't seen anyone around?
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
I like how he's like, it's a day off from Mikhail as well.
There's something friendly and familiar in how he says that. A day off.
Yeah, yeah. Like taking time out of his busy life and showing Mikhail that it's important to take time off as well, and to use that time off to learn things and not just play with worms, but to also play with worms. He does them both. He does everything. He's a super dad. I kind of want to ask him about the money thing, just because he's so fucking nice, and because I know it will piss Kim off. You look like someone who has money. Do you have any money?
I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
I agree.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just profiling.
I was.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Could I have some of that unimportant money then? Oh, Harry, we have enough. I'm letting his intrusive thoughts come to the surface, but we don't want your money. I would never dream of it. So let's just say this.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else.
I'm sorry for
fact.
I'm sorry for profiling you like that. I just kind of wanted to see what his thoughts would say.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states.
And somehow he's turned this into like and now he's educating me again. He's turned the tables. This guy's a master of negotiation. Which makes me kind of suspicious of him now.
If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway,
that's what it is. It's
that's just a little something that sprang to mind.
It's my theoretical curiosity. That's what it was.
Forget it. They don't sell those kind of books at crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
Well, thank you for all the interesting information.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Oh, this guy's just the best. So polite, so nice. A fucking anomaly in this world.
Pick your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
Hey, don't be such a sourpuss, Rhetoric. I was glad to hear him talk. Wow, that was wonderful. Detritus of lost epochs. Little Michael here is going to grow up to be either the next fucking king of the world that everyone loves, or he'll be the next Philippe the Squanderer. So just a coin toss, really, in this world. Well, we got our skill point. We got our thought. We're at 5% now. And now it's time to just pass some time, which I believe we can do by playing a couple of board games with Kim. Now, Kim is going to say, we don't have time for that. But we do, Kim. We've actually got all the time in the world. We've got all the time in the world to learn about each other in a simulated competitive environment of a board game, so that you and I can do the delicate dance of cop work to solve this crime. Okay, it's all relevant, it's all needed, it's all appropriately on budget for the RCM. The RCM is actually gonna need to fund this little side endeavor of ours. They're gonna pay for our board games and the time we spend playing them. As that's just what cool cops do. So that's what we're gonna do next time. We're gonna pass the time by playing some games. And try to see if we can get this thought resolved, and then we will go pass our perception check and move on with the story. All right, until next time, I'll see you very soon.